All right, good morning. My name is Eric Wilson, and we are looking at Cristobal. That's like a crease in your pants, your toe, and a ball. Cristobal, that is the correct pronunciation of this tropical storm, which it will remain. Cristobal, at the time of this recording, was located, it had wind speeds of about 40 knots, which is on the lower end of tropical storm. It will continue to be at about 45 knots 12 hours from now, which is tonight at 9 p.m. And then tomorrow, again, when you're timing things out, you've got to be really careful. When was the initial? When did this initialize? And this initialized at 300 hours on the 6th, but that's UCT time. So I kind of stay away from saying, oh, it'll be here tonight and it'll be here tomorrow, but it really actually will in this instance, in this case, Sunday, and we'll go through that. But the track really has never been an issue. It's always been looking like landfall will be on the coastline of Alabama for the eye wall, which I never care about because this red here is the infrared satellite loop that I currently have running for you. And you can see this is the area that everybody's concerned with and should be, from the Florida Panhandle to Louisiana. And when it comes to Louisiana, timing is crucial for tide. And that's true for anything, I wanted to stay away from Alabama landshore, roll tide, but really it does matter with the timing because, the tides that go in, they come out. And we're on the wrong side. This path here, Lake Pontchartrain is just to the north. Louisiana is right here, again, as I'm pointing to it and clicking to it. And all the wind's going to be moving in from the southeast. So you've got this wave swells that are anywhere from 12 to 15 feet high out here in the Gulf of Mexico. They're not going to be that high when they hit the banks of Louisiana. But I wanted to show you, first you've got to find it. There's the eye wall. So that's that. We'll go through the timing in just a second. Meaning what I'll do is I will kind of show you 7 a.m., the time that I started, putting these maps together. The one that had the model now that had the best resolution on all of these, the track, they're all really in line. So it isn't this argument of, oh, is the Euro going to handle it more towards the east or west? All of them are pretty much in line, and you'll see that. So I stuck with the Euro at 7 a.m. And tonight at 6 p.m. on Saturday, it'll be about 600 miles away from Orlando. But Orlando, why do I bring up Orlando? This is going to be heading towards New Orleans, Louisiana, landfall, possibly in Alabama. So, what am I talking about? Storm surge for Alabama when Alabama's way, out here. And it's important because everything from the very small coastline of Alabama to the very long coastline of Pensacola, Florida, to Mississippi, and New Orleans, there's Lake Pontchartrain. These are all going to be seeing these wind streaks that I've put up here. Wind speeds of 35 miles an hour, they're fine. It's just you're looking at storm surge. Thankfully, this is a fast mover, and we'll show you that. So at 6 p.m. tonight, we're about 600 miles away from the coastline of Orlando, but Orlando's going to get wet. I mean, really, really wet. So what I have right up here are wind gusts. These are sustained winds, and we do have some readings out here of about 42 miles an hour. It's a pretty loose system. It's not really tight. Pressure's at 2941 at 10 a.m. So let's kind of roll through this, as I said before. Sunday, it gets right on the shore. Let's zoom in just a little bit and show you the concerns. We'll go to waves. Okay, we'll go to swells, waves, swells, and swell 2. And we're going to stick with the ECMF. I mean, I could show you the GFS. I could show you the NAM, the North America model. As you can kind of see, they're all really, the one that handles most of the data, the best, is the ECMF, which is why it's, in the center. So let's go with waves as promised. Here's the waves at when 3 p.m. on Sunday. Okay, we're looking at 14-foot swells about 50 to 75 miles away from the shoreline. But you've got more shoreline in here, and now you run into shallower water. So what happens to a wave is it gets cut in half. You do have surge, and that's what happens to the upper half of that wave. So not a 10-foot swell like they're saying. A lot of computer models overshoot things anyway, but it gives you a guidance. So from Biloxi, Mississippi to Mobile, Alabama, Crestview, and Panama City, all the way west to, New Orleans. There's Lake Pontchartrain looking fine, but this is a model. We'll have to see what happens in real time. But this right here is the shoreline, and the shoreline is where you really don't fall off into deep water. So why are these waves up to 16 feet? Because the water is so deep. When the water's deep, you're able to swell more, and that wind creates swell. In fact, let's check the swell. The swells themselves are separated from the actual height of the wave on top. The swells start moving out more towards the east. So there's Mobile, Alabama. Again, like I said, it matters if the tide's coming in, then we're going to see a bit more damage around the Mobile area. They're forecasted to have their wind swells looking pretty good, every 7 seconds. It depends on what model you use. I'm not going to get too geeky on this one, but I do want to just show you some of the depths. I mean, we're at 8 feet away. We're still at about 8 feet away, 20 miles out. Not even that, like 10 miles out from Crestview, Panama City. These are wave swells. And if I was to take Wave Watch 3, the problem with Wave Watch 3 and Wave Watch itself, okay, is that you've got the ECM WF and its wave model. You've got to have another model to change, to compare it to. And these are pretty consistent, but you can see you got data missing here. So what I have to do is all right, let's go to wave swell 2, and there's more data missing. And that could be the time in the morning. It's 9 a.m. We'll have more data because these solutions here are currently resolved after the new data comes in, the track comes in, the important stuff. And then you start, saying, okay, now that we know this, let's figure out the waves. So I'll kind of end it on the waves here, and we'll watch the waves as Sunday rolls along. Sunday, there's the eye. Oh, I did you a disservice there. Let's go back to 3 o'clock. Let's go back to the wave model of the ECMF. And let's go back to wind. Let's go to gust, because gust matters to humans, right? It matters in Macomb. It matters in Hattiesburg. So let's figure out what those wind speeds are going to be in this area. We're looking at 43 mile an hour wind speeds, 49 gusts. I'm sorry. A speed is something that's sustained. Like it's always, like you're always traveling in a car at 35 miles an hour. A gust is as if you hit the gas. So hitting the gas here at times to 49 miles an hour. You can see around the eye wall, we're pretty calm at 21 gusts. Okay, these are gusts. Biloxi gusting to 51. Mobile, that's this area gusting to 52. Panama City, the gusts. I've already shown you the waves, so I'm not going to go back to that. But the gusts start to die down in Tallahassee. Not as bad, but they're there. It's a windy day tomorrow. And it's wet, of course, because of the precipitation that's in the forecast. And I really kind of stay away from model projections when it comes to future radar. Just talk about bias. I mean, you're taking the Gulf of Mexico and you're pretty much throwing it over the northern Gulf of the States. So that is where I'll leave it. And we'll just kind of move it on in. And it looks like it really wants to kind of head. Let's do landfall. In the overnight hours, it'll make landfall and it won't hang around. It likes to leave by Monday at 5. You're still going to have a very windy day in Louisiana, 52 mile an hour winds. So if you're in Louisiana, if you're in, especially Louisiana, if you're in Mississippi, you're looking at a very windy day. You're looking at wind speeds at up to 50 miles an hour for Sunday and Monday. It'll not ruin the week, but it will bring some rain. Let's say you need some rain in the areas in the Mississippi Valley, just to the west of Chicago, as it moves all the way into Canada. And is that consistent? And it is. I mean, you can kind of see. It's right there. It differs on its readings. This one had it at 100 millibars. This one had it at 996. But regardless, when it's this tight, when you've got the models and this much agreement, and you see a lot of 48s right in here, that means within 48 hours of the initialization of this model run this morning at 7 a.m., and here's another tight agreement. You don't have any squiggly ones going to Florida or Texas, which is why a lot of people kind of like look for videos, and they're like, hey, where's it going to go? They need a trusted source. So go to ericwilsonweathersource.com at any time. Thank you so much, and have a great day.